Good afternoon, everyone. This is Joe Bost with the Charlotte Regional Business Alliance, and I hope you're doing well. Today, I'm joined by Senator Paul Newton. Senator Newton is a friend of the business community here in the Charlotte region. Senator Newton represents all of Cabarrus County and a slice of Union County, so he's really regional when it comes to his representation as well. And so, Senator, we're fortunate to have a few minutes today with you, so welcome. Well, Senator, I want to jump right in and talk about Senate Bill 848 because I think what you've done is capture the attention of a lot of people, business leaders, economic development leaders, really folks across the board, and even in the nonprofit world, chambers alike. And so during the pandemic, we've seen a lot of great bipartisan bills in North Carolina. It's clear that Republicans and Democrats are making a concerted effort to work together towards making sure North Carolina can really deal with the crisis at hand, but also recover in an expeditious way. And so appreciate all that you have done in that respect. And Senate Bill 848 to me is really just the latest example of how innovative policies are being put forward that both sides can really rally behind and support. So before we get into the specifics of Senate Bill 848, talk with us a little bit about how you came up with the idea.
Sure. Thanks, Joe. It's great to be with you, and thanks for this discussion. Um, what I wanted to do is find a way to position North Carolina to be first in line when we come out of the COVID pandemic. And that day will come, right? Tomorrow is going to come. We still have businesses that's troubling out of this. So the question I ask myself is what can we create to put North Carolina first in line that doesn't cost the state a penny, because we don't have availability. We have $4 to $5 billion in less revenue than we thought we would have. So how could we do that? And that was the genesis of 848, to try to create an opportunity for North Carolina business to thrive as we come out of the pandemic.
No, that's fantastic to hear. And you and I have had some really great dialogue in the past couple of years on the franchise tax here in North Carolina. We've talked through the burden it really places upon businesses, especially those in the manufacturing sector. And it's been a priority of our organization to find ways to ease that burden on business. And the pandemic has also created the necessity for us to really think through what are those differentiators in the race to attract more businesses to North Carolina and selfishly the Charlotte region, right? Because that's where you and I live, but also the race to reshore and strengthen our supply chains. So while franchise tax is really a critical component of this bill, walk us through each section because I know there's a lot of moving parts to it.
Sure, happy to do that. And I'll be brief, and I'm happy to answer any follow-up questions that you might have. But think of it as having three prongs. Prong one is to reward those companies, even though they saw a decline of at least 10% in revenues during the pandemic, who retained their North Carolina employees. And these are companies that didn't qualify for the federal funds, or won't qualify, or can't qualify for the Golden Leaf funds, Main Street funds. These are for the companies that are in the donut hole. And I think that helps your minority businesses who didn't feel like they were ready they didn't have those traditional banking relationships to be able to qualify for those funds. They felt left out. This will help them. It'll help companies that were too large to qualify for the PPP loan. So that's prong one. We want to reward those employers who stuck with their North Carolina employees. And it's not just a reward. In my mind, it also helps position them. If we have a second wave, they'll be in a better, stronger position to be able to retain those employees a second time. And that's, of course, what we want. We want to retain employment or employees across our state. So that's the purpose of prong one. That's already, in fact, we funded it today at $15 million in seed money because those qualify for COVID funds now. This is essentially what the federal government did, but we want to close the donut hole. The second prong of the bill recognizes that for us to be turbocharged coming out of the virus, we need capital investment. We need iron in the ground in North Carolina ASAP. So what this bill does is it does address the dreaded franchise tax in a roundabout way. It is a grant, so it's not a tax credit. And if you invest in North Carolina in 2020 or 2021, you're going to be eligible to offset the cost of that capital investment by eliminating 5 years of the franchise tax. So whatever your franchise tax burden would have been on that new capital investment, you will be able to, a 5-year depreciable asset, you'll pay no franchise tax on that. If it's a 30-year asset, at least the first 5 years will be free of the burden of our franchise tax. And so that is to really to incent, to spur, to create new capital investment. And it could be a new repatriated business that would qualify. It could be the expansion of an existing business already in North Carolina. They would qualify. So that's the investment portion. And then the final prong of the bill, think about the 1NC fund. And it's essentially a very small closing fund that the governor, the Secretary of Commerce, has the opportunity to close certain size transactions to create jobs in the state. But it's traditionally, at least currently, being used for smaller, sort of non-transformative employers. We will put under this bill $100 million into the 1NC fund. And I've talked with Secretary Copeland to suggest to him that our goal in this is for him to expand the use of the 1NC fund. And the biggest difference under the terms and conditions of a 1NC fund is that this would not only go to local governments for infrastructure for those job creators, just like a 1NC fund, but there's no local match. So if you've got a huge job creator that wants to come to the Charlotte region, you can work with the local government, create the road infrastructure or the gas pipeline infrastructure or the electric infrastructure or the water and sewer infrastructure, and help land that large job creator. So those are the three basic portions of the bill. The investment portion is, first come, first serve. We really want activity to start yesterday on new capital investment in our state. And my goal here is to not just send the message that we're going to be competitive regionally, but we're going to be competitive globally. We know it's a national imperative really to repatriate vulnerabilities that we found in our supply chain, particularly from China. And if we can bring that home, we have the ecosystem, as you know, to be able to support that. We've got the best education system in the nation for a job-ready workforce, great community college system, and we have to continue to excel in that area, because when you talk to large employers, the most important thing for them, as you know, is a job-ready workforce. And I think we can provide that, and I think this bill will help stimulate economic growth in North Carolina as we come out of that COVID period.
Absolutely. And we're grateful for your willingness to really think creatively about, solutions, and not just solutions, but also innovative policies that are really going to put North Carolina in this region on the map. We have a team of economic development recruiters who go out and traditionally travel the entire country, but also travel globally to try to bring that capital investment in those companies to the Charlotte region. And not having the ability to travel and really put that personal flair or personal touch in front of the companies, having these differentiators like what you were proposing is really going to help as we continue to recruit companies to the Charlotte region. So we appreciate your efforts on that. And you mentioned the bill is moving. I know it passed out of the Senate last week, I believe unanimously, which anyone who follows policy knows that a bill relating to tax policy does not typically get unanimous support. There's usually a naysayer or two or three. So kudos to you on that. But we know there's additional steps required before this bill can really take off and help us stimulate the economy. So walk us through what the next steps are.
So real simple. Next steps are over in the House. I need a champion there. I need encouragement from the business community with your House counterparts to explain to them this is an important bill for our state. And I think it's consistent with the goals of the House as well. So I'm optimistic that they'll take it up and pass it quickly. And again, any voices of encouragement from your team would be greatly appreciated. And I think you know, Joe, that we live in a world that sending a clear message about this being North Carolina, Charlotte region is particularly good at this, but North Carolina is a place that you can, with confidence, make a multi-generational bet on your company, because we are structurally sound, we're committed to community.
Well, Senator, thank you for really taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know session is hopefully ending soon. We appreciate all of your leadership. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with us and our investors about, really this important bill that's moved rapidly in an environment where it's easy to get caught up in noise. This bill is moving, and we're appreciative of all that you're doing to help our regional business community and the business community of North Carolina.
You're welcome. And you play an important role. Your organization and the Charlotte Regional Business Alliance is critical to the success of our state. I'm a believer that a rising tide lifts all ships. So if every new headquarters that's coming to North Carolina wants to be in the Charlotte region, that is fine by me, because everyone will benefit if that happens. So Godspeed to you and to your team, and let's continue to do good things.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
You're welcome. Bye-bye now.